Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's OpenONU Go call. Thanks for joining. As usual, the call is public and recorded and will be published on YouTube. So first up is just a reminder, we have give or take 9 days before the code freeze of the release. So please be mindful of the features you want to put in and the work you're doing in respect to this code freeze. So last time, so this was the first thing. Last time we discussed a little bit about the ONU delete and come back. So I discussed it also with Girish, and we believe that there is really no need to perform a mib reset as part of the delete device. It would be an extra precaution and also be done at a point in time where you're not guaranteed exactly channel existence and things like that. So it's an overly it's an overprotection that we don't really need them, because we do perform a mib reset whenever it comes up. So that's not, we're not gonna do this. I did reach out to Amit Ghosh from Deutsche Telekom to understand if the deletion of an ONU and the comeback of the same is a use case, and he told me that it is, and that Deutsche Telekom expects the ONU to come back after a deletion with a new ONU indication, whether the subscriber was provisioned or not. So in any case, you delete the ONU, and the ONU should come back afresh and for example, for DT go in initial mid download state. Hardik has a test that tries this. I have to figure out exactly what the state of the implementation is, but yeah, this is something that if it's not working, we need to work on. Girish, anything to add on this topic?
No, nothing from my side, Andrea.
Okay, yeah, so effectively also, so Theo put it correctly the other day, saying that effectively then the delete of the ONU is a flush of the ONU from the Volta system, and it completely purges all the state. Delete is not, it goes away and it does not come back, it's just a purge of the complete state. Okay. Any more comments or questions? So we'll work on this test and see what the state is, and then we'll try to figure out what needs to be done. So I'll take that as an action item on the ONF. Next up is actually a discussion that came in on the OpenONU Go Adapter channel from Odzge, and I actually managed to confirm it yesterday with another ONU that we just got at the ONF, the Zyxel ONU. So what Odzge was seeing is that there is an issue when doing the initial mib upload for type 4 unsupported message type 46, that issues then the net yields no MCI message layer could not be detected error. And if you guys want to take a look, there's a thread on Slack here that has all the different errors in there more in depth. But so I was wondering if anybody knows what this is and what are the next steps that we need to do to avoid this. So maybe Odzge or Chip or Michael, Holger, you have more information than I do here.
Yeah, that was I think that was on a BFW ONU, one of their models, and it's sending a OMC IME in the mib upload next response, which is the type 46, and that should actually read table decode. It's actually a cut and paste error, so it should say table decode, but that ME is not supposed to be reported in a mib upload, and also any table attributes of an ME are not table or counter attributes should ever be reported in the MIB upload request in the get next response.
Should you mean that is not an unsupported message type at all, but it is not expected in the MIB upload, right?
Yeah, the message type is valid, but the table attribute appearing in that message type is not supported. And for table for it's typically it's table and counters. Counters aren't that much of an issue if we ever want to relax those, but tables are reported as 32-bit integers of the size. And the strange thing in this is it was reporting both of the tables being present in the upload, and their sizes were 4 bytes long, which really doesn't make sense because the message type table is usually around 23 bytes or so. And then of course the managed MEs can be in the many dozens or 100. So, you know, for it reporting a size of 4 for those two, that was really strange.
So let me summarize it from my side. We had a Slack discussion on it, but I think we did not find a mutual agreement, at least between Chip and me. We have 2 ways to solve this issue. One way would be to just make an error report at a very early stage when we detect this error and ignore the complete ME. Or my proposal was more that the ONClib should include that in the relaxed decoding fragments in order to stop decoding whenever there's something that cannot be decoded, like for instance, the table attribute, and should report that accordingly as for the other relaxed attributes that are unknown. And so we are able to still go farther in the decoding as we do with the relaxed attributes, and try still to get what is there from the known and defined attributes, and put the rest as a byte string to the MIB template later. Yeah, I had the impression that Chip wouldn't want to agree to this approach. Maybe the effort in the ONClib is also quite high for doing that. I don't know. Yeah, and
I think it would be sort of problematic, because one of the issues could be is if you get a table attribute that's present, it, you know, of course you serialize or you decode attributes one index at a time. So if you get a table attributes and there are other attributes that follow it, you couldn't possibly decode it.
Yeah, but that's okay for me, because the ME, the entity itself, is reported in the wrong way. So it's no problem in that case that we decode until we find the first error and stop them. And in all the cases that we have observed so far, we are anyway not interested in the content of this ME, at least not for the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably put something together, but I definitely not going to be able to make it in the 2.9 time frame due to short work week next week for us. So
yeah, that I can understand.
Yeah, I would probably log. Yeah, I'd probably log it as an error on the CLI and just make the MIB upload process within OpenONU Go adapter. Just ignore that one. It may be able to reach in, you know, with the payload. You know, so look at the payload to the OpenCI layer. And
yeah, I can go with that, but the problem that we have at the moment with that solution is that we have to detect this error at a very early stage already, And it's the same error that we get as if there would be an unknown attribute. Maybe you have changed the error message, and we spoke about the strange error message that is also shown here in the document from Andrea. I think you made some internal correction of this error message. Maybe you can make use of some new error message that is reported for the table attributes. Then I'm not sure, because I haven't seen the code from you on that case, or maybe you just made a note where on which code position it should be changed. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, I could definitely fix it. So it says message type 46 table serialization, and then maybe look at putting a more human readable name instead of 46 as well. So I mean that would be a very simple low risk change that we can make.
Yeah. So one thing that I'm concerned with is that if we just make this decision, at least for now, that we detect such an error and try to ignore the complete ME with that we will also not be able to see the last implemented feature of relaxed attributes decoding, because I think it's the same report that we receive at that code point. So,
but can this be splitted between the table whenever it's a table issue, like here we do it in a way, and then whenever it's other types of errors that are okay, but or errors, but like more of an expected type of an error, because this was an unexpected table entry present in the ME at the start, while the rest are more okay type of MEs where we just don't know them at all. Am I making sense? Like, can we distinguish the two cases? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think they're distinguished already at the present time. So in the current code, if it's an unknown vendor, vendor specific managed entity, or perhaps one that we don't fully decode, some of the, say, DSL ones or tables that we don't fully decode, those show up as the unknown managed entity. So those are decoded correctly in the upload. And then the cases where there's new attributes that are available in a decoded message, because of the new standard, that was what the relaxed decode handles. And so that use case is covered. So the only thing we don't have covered is the putting a defined attribute in a MIB upload response, MIB upload next response that should not be there by the standard. So like I said, we could probably correct this error message very simply, and then have another one that handles it in a more relaxed decode specific manner, so we can at least capture as much as we can. And
So
that,
I think
that would also be able to fully decode if someone actually stuck counters in a upload response. Since we know the size of counters, we can say, okay, let's be relaxed and actually get the values.
So I think what you're saying, Chip, is that you could actually do a first initial approach where you change the error type and ignore completely the ME, which we could put into 2.9. And then maybe for 2.10, more complete full solution. Is that what?
Yeah, in the OMCL, the decode library, he can provide a clearer and correct error message instead of this one right here. But the ignoring of the error needs to be done in the OpenONU adapter. I wouldn't want to, because he's calling me for a packet. I have to return something.
Oh yeah. No, makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes total sense. Makes total sense. Yeah. Well, if we yeah, if you come up with an error that is specific to this issue, then we can just ignore it. Yeah.
And fixing this or making it much more human readable, because it's actually two places I need to fix to say decode instead of serialization. So that's typing and a quick test, which luckily we have octet strings already to test it, but I can easily get that done today.
Okay.
And I'll create a JIRA also.
Thanks. Appreciate it. I think this is pretty good, because really I think that we have it. We can reproduce it at ONF. So as soon as you have something, you can just send it over, and we can see what if the solution with that we can code around the ignoring of the error and then try it out with that ONU. We have it plugged into a GPON in the lab. So.
And if we could get, an operator, maybe someone from or an integrator to report this issue to BFW. I know they have a more than one stack, OMCI stack, so it might not be all of their own use, but that might save us, a headache, 2 years down the line. We don't remember what's going on.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to report this issue to for example, the one we reproduced it with, which is the Zyxel ONU.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ping them and say, hey guys, we saw this issue.
Okay.
But I also want a way for us to be kind of capable to handle this.
Okay. And for the voice over IP, there's also another ME, the SIP config portal ME. It's one that's not reported either. So just as a heads up, the MIP upload of the SIP one,
okay.
If they report it, that might happen.
Okay. Okay, good. Great. Thanks for the discussion. Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
Basically, these are two separate JIRAs. The one thing concerns the OMC lib, the change of the error report, and the other is to adapt the OpenONU adapter to ignore these MEs.
Yep. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, so next up is another topic around handling of the bandwidth profiles, a completely different topic. So there was a discussion between Odzge and Girish on I think again, the OpenONU Go channel on the measurement that we use for the bandwidth profile. And it seems we have two different measurements. One, we provide one in kilobytes, but the ME for the traffic descriptor goes into bytes. So we might have a discrepancy there because we just put it into the traffic descriptor ME without any conversion. Is that correct, Girish, Odzge?
Right. Yeah, it's in kilobits per second. I think it's passed as is without conversion. Yeah, we are seeing some low data rates on some of our pods. I'm not sure if that is tied to this particular issue. Again, I mean, this issue is not consistent. I mean, it works on some ports and not on some. I don't know if it's tied to workflow or something else, but this is definitely the problem that we need to fix.
I already have asked for some Jira, for some bug report in this respect to track this, but I guess you haven't created one yet, or?
No, we have not created any report. Maybe Odzge, you were already working on a fix.
Yes, sure. I can working on this issue. Actually, I thought OpenONU Adapter sent these values after conversion. Yeah, I can fix it. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Thanks, Odzge. So we are certain that the OpenONU adapter sends them down in the normal format, right?
Yes.
In the
Yes.
kilobits.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, then a conversion needs to be made here
Yeah.
to adhere to
Yeah,
the
sure.
standard. And then maybe Girish, we can test it on the ONUs. We are seeing a low traffic capability.
All right.
Okay.
We have any Jira task for this?
No,
or I
feel free to create.
Oh, okay.
Feel free to create one. Do you want me to create it? Would you prefer me creating it, Odzge, or you are fine creating it yourself?
I can create it.
Okay,
Thank
sounds
you.
good. Thanks. Okay.
Yeah, we stumbled across this problem first in Atran internal tests that were done together with the SERCOM ONUs, where we detected that with the release 2.9 implementation compared to 2.8, where we still didn't have this feature. So in the 2.9 tests, it showed that there's only a quite low transmission rate in upstream. And yeah, one possible problem is the still missing conversion, but we also made some tests where we changed the configured rate, meaning we doubled it, but there was no reaction on the transmission rate for that. So that was a little bit surprising. I still have some logs open that I have to analyze in this respect. I didn't manage to finish that up to now, so maybe some further question comes up in this field. Just
Okay.
only to mention.
Okay.
Yeah. I
go
think
ahead,
I
Girish.
had similar observations. I mean, I changed the data rates, but it was stuck at around 1 Mbps. And when I debugged on the OLT upstream PON port, the traffic was limited. The traffic was already low when it was coming from the ONU, so something on the ONU was limiting it. It was just around 1 Mbps or something like that. But I didn't spend enough time debugging this, but this looks like a potential problem that we need to fix.
Yeah, seems so. So yeah, I think we really have to have an eye on that.
Yeah. So let's start with the first fix. Have it in upstream, and then we can try and reproduce this after the fix, so we're sure that this is not the issue. And then yeah, because we need to also understand where we observe this, because in ONF we're not observing this issue in all of our pods. So maybe a comparison between some type of ONUs and some type of OLTs might yield interesting findings. So let's keep an eye on this. Odzge, please submit the patch as soon as you can. Even today or tomorrow would be good.
Sure.
So we can start the testing on the rest of the front. We still have a month before the release, so during the code freeze we can definitely fix this issue. But yeah, let's not let it slip.
Okay, I get it.
Thanks. Okay. So on the software upgrade front, the CRC check in BBSim is actually done. And there was also another fix that Matteo made that is up for review concerning the version that is reported after an abort of the download of the ONU software image to the standby partition. So now BBSim reverts back to the previous image in the standby partition, so that's good. Thanks Theo for doing that as well. And we also merged the issue for downloading with multiple devices. Have we backported it to 2.8?
No, not yet.
Okay. Makes sense. So if you guys remember, I had an action item last week to ask the folks at the Deutsche Telekom and Turk Telekom what is the scale of the ONU software update that they are planning. And Deutsche Telekom said that at one point in time, all the ONUs under a certain OLT can be updated. So they're not going to update all of the ONUs in the network at the same time, but all of the ONUs under one OLT can be updated at the same time. So for us, that would be 1024 for now. So we need a scale test that tries to fix the ONU image in 1024 ONUs at scale. So definitely not 2.9, because most likely it's going to be a longer process, and there's still some targets for 2.9 that are not this. But for 2.10, we should take care of this.
Michael, do you think this is feasible with a small message format, the standard message format of 48-byte OMSI messages, or do we need the extended message format for that?
It is feasible. The question is if the code is robust enough. And of course, it takes longer time. And it is taking CPU performance, and that's why I was opening the question to observe the system behavior under according system limits and how the load is distributed across different clusters and so on. So there are some interesting questions in this respect. But basically, it should work.
It takes a whole night.
Yeah, maybe we also run into into our timeout. So also that is a problem. Maybe then, so maybe that needs some other configuration from the HEM options. Yeah, so some questions are connected to that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this is just that we need something that we need to try. There's this scale stuff. We at ONF found that really are the only way to understand if it works or if it doesn't is to try it out. So we'll do that, and we'll see how it goes, and then we make the usual adjustments. Okay. So next are the random counters on. Oh, sorry. There's one more thing that Amit was suggesting as an optimization for the ONU software download, to send multiple segments during the ONU software download procedure. So effectively keeping all of the software download in the RPC together between the adapters. there was a discussion of TST, and Amit is going to go ahead and implement this. And so in this way, it's a faster exchange between the ONU adapter and the OLT adapter of the EMIs and that, the sections of the ONU image. And so bundling these sections together on the gRPC channel between those two adapters, it will yield a faster time for the update, at least internally to Volta. We're not optimizing the MCI channel here, but still there's some optimization that is done within the system, which is good. Any question? I'm not sure what is the target for this. Let's see when the code comes up, what we can do. If we can put into 2.9, I don't believe so, but we'll see. Okay. On the next
sorry,
topic.
Andrea.
Yeah, go ahead, Michael. Yeah.
One smaller issue still came up in Matteo's tests, where unfortunately the timing was a little bit critical because he tested the software upgrade abort, and the abort time that he used accidentally used in his tests came together with the end of the software download. And in this specific case where the canceling of the upgrade comes together with the end of the download to the ONU, leads to some internal problems that are not correctly handled in the software. So that also needs a smaller fix in the OpenONU adapter. Otherwise, the indicated states for this device in the ONU adapter is not really corresponding to the device, or to the state on the ONU device itself. So there's some Matteo set up in according Jira for that, and I think we should and could do that still in release 2.9.
Okay, sounds good. Do you remember the Jira?
No.
No, it's okay. It's fine.
I can send it to you.
Thanks, Neil. Oh, put it in the document.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thanks. Okay. Okay, good. On the PM counters, there's really no update because that's another BBSIM feature, but I don't think we're going to get this into 2.9. It's not a high priority, so we're probably going to do it into 2.10, and then we can update the tests over there. On the voice over IP, Ozge, how's the work going?
I continue my local test to voice over IP this week. During my local test, I saw one point. This point, we are sending POTS UNI info to RV core. We are adding the end of the port name -p -num uni port ID for voice over IP. ONUs cannot accept the port name when we are adding the signature to it, because the port name will be longer than 16 characters. OpenFlow spec cannot accept this new port name. My temporary solution is to add -p uniport ID to the end of the port name. We have seen this problem with MDU devices. I have a temporary solution, but Mahir will talk this with ONF member. I don't know what we'll do. I just have a temporary solution. Another something. Actually, I said our last meeting, I said we are use Zyxel and Iskratel G108, but we are using Zyxel and Iskratel G68, not 108. Sorry.
Okay, so 68
Yeah.
Iskratel. And do you know the model of the Zyxel?
No, I don't know.
Can I ask you to find out?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Iskratel G108 model cannot declare POTS UNI to OpenONU adapter.
Interesting, because that's the one we have at ONF. That's the only one we have at ONF.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that, but it is not declared to our. I don't know why.
We also got a Zyxel ONU, which is the one that was giving us some issues that we discussed here. So maybe we get past this issue and we can use that one for this test, because we have a compatible CPE with a phone port. Yeah, that's why I'm asking you to find out which model it is. That would be very helpful to us.
I will check. But I am working with JPON ONU now.
Yeah. The Zyxel we have is a JPON as well.
Yeah. I don't have any thing else.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks. Okay. So next up is this issue that we were seeing at scale that Theo needed to do some more investigation on it. Can you give us an update, guys, on this one? What's the if it's still seen? Do we still need to spend time on it? What's the status?
I haven't done any new investigation on that.
Okay. So we can still see it. We can still check whenever we after we merge the OLT app, we can focus on this one. Would that make sense?
Yeah, I would say as soon as we stabilize the test, if we still see these issues, we can investigate it. But I don't think I have seen it in the
Okay. It sounds good. Okay, so last item of the agenda was the testing front. Torsten, do you want to give us some updates here?
Yes, I can. As we already heard, Matteo start with implementing the Jira as the first topic. The next topic, it's done for master. All the test cases are merged and are running in the pipeline successfully.
Okay.
Now we have to decide which will be backported to 2.8, but I think it's a discussion after merging the code or backporting the code by Michael and Holger or by Michael. I think it's not the time now. Yes. The reconciling test, the next topic, is started, or it's uploaded for reviewing. I think you saw it, and the invitations are sent.
Yeah.
So let's see. From my point, it works fine. Locally, maybe we will see what the review bring. So the
Okay.
next, that's not my point, I think. The next points, right?
Yeah, so this is the same thing we were mentioning before, the 1024. So yeah, this is to be done after 2.9. So that's okay.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else? I don't think there is any update on the two OpenONU.
Not from my side, no.
Actually, we envision to have some further tests after the release of the 2.9.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so this concluded the topics I had for today. Like to, as usual, open the floor to see if there is any topic that needs to be brought up, and then we can, if not, we can end the meeting.
Chip, there's one issue regarding storing the MIP templates, we discussed last week. And yeah, the Python adapter store, stored some multi-byte attributes as ASCII strings, whereas the new Go adapter stores the attributes as base 64 coded strings, as it receives them from the OMSI-lib. And actually, I saw that actually this storing this multi-byte variables in JSON as a base 64 coded strings is more or less state of the art. And I decided also to keep it. But actually, we have an issue when someone wants to read the template, which is generated by the first ONU of a certain type started. I experimented a little bit with the JQ tool, but the JQ tool in the current form does not provide a base 64 decoder. And I want to have your thoughts. What can you imagine? How could we proceed here? Should we try to provide some tooling which is used when we want to see the MIP template in plain text, or what is your idea about it?
Well, I know you can do a custom marshaller, for JSON types, but it's been a while since I've done that for Go, of how easy it would be for just one specific use case, converting, back and forth between the two. So
actually,
maybe not in 2.9, but maybe in 2.10, it might be nice to have in the manage entity object, the manage entity have a way to serialize that, to have like a to-JSON functionality. In other words, build a way to always write out manage entity to persistent store JSON in one way and read it back.
Okay, but you mean but still base 64 coded, right?
Yeah, I would definitely probably do base 64 as the coding if you go out to JSON or YAML.
But actually, everybody, I surfed a little bit on the internet. Everybody has a problem that they have to translate a JSON structure partially into plain text again when it comes to reading it by a human.
Yeah, I understand that. The drawback is if you store it out in native format, then you get a JSON array of bytes, which could be, really pollute a visible screen. It gives you, the JSON string of actual bytes is human readable, but it can be quite large, especially when you're talking about some of the large string savings. Some of the things that VoIP was going to end up having to save. So I think base 64 is about the best you can do for JSON and YAML.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But is the problem just to get the template out of etcd for people to look at it?
Yes, it would be shown if you, for example, proceed a GET request to the etcd, then you would get this JSON structure where all the multi-byte attributes are coded in base 64 strings, which are not actually, not readable by humans. And the question was, do we have to provide some tooling to decode such JSON template to give the customers a chance to read that in plain text?
We can figure that out, but if we need it, we can just add that tool to VoltCTL, because it already has a connection to etcd to set the log levels. So we can just add a VoltCTL get template or something.
Yeah, and I suggest if you do like in VoltKettle, have the default just put out the base 64 string, but maybe have options that you can do like a hex dump. The typical memory dump that you see that shows the hex byte values, and then to the right it provides it in ASCII if it can be converted. That could be like an option switch.
Makes sense to export it also in the format in which it's stored in case you want to move the template from a pod to another.
Chip, you mean you already would provide by the OMSI Go or not? This is ASCII coded strings.
I was having trouble hearing you.
The question is where this translation would be done. Would it be also already done by the MIP OMSI Go by calling a special method, or should it still be stored or still be stored as a base 64 format and then post-processed afterwards?
I don't know. I think it's pretty much up to the ONU adapter of how they want to store and represent that. I would suggest doing it in base 64 just to stay consistent, because that can handle all both octet string types as well as Unicode strings or whatever, because this is just basically a
it means you would not be keen of implementing a method in OMSI Go which provides ASCII strings instead of base 64, right? Chip, can you read me? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what you're trying to ask. I mean, the storage of the template is completely up to OpenONU Adapter.
Yeah, I know, but as I said, the adapter had to decode that. You give some base 64 strings in the get attribute value map.
I'd actually have to look to see what the value. I think the value is actually when you do the attribute and you go in and get the value, it'll come back as a byte array or a byte slice.
But only for single access, not the get value map. Okay, we can discuss offline, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, Andrea, do you think this is a useful discussion? Do we need something like this to see the lib template in plain text or not?
Could be useful to transfer it across pods, maybe. Was this a feature that we had in the Python adapter? I was not particularly involved in the discussion of the MIB templates at all in the past, so I don't really know.
The fact is that if you just want to transfer it from a pod to the other, you don't actually need to read the template.
Yeah, and the only use case would be that an operator, for example, wants to see all the attributes in plain text. Actually, the implementation itself not need it.
Okay, then maybe a low priority item.
Yeah.
If you want to do it and somebody asks for it, let me put it this way: there's nobody asking for it right now, so
yeah,
let's not waste time on it. Unless it's a very trivial thing. I mean, unless you're already touching this area and you say, okay, it costs me nothing to do a decode in plain text. It's like a couple of lines of code at 5 minutes. While I'm already touching this, I'm gonna do it. But if you have to go in and do it specifically, I would say for now avoid, because there's no operator asking for it.
Yeah, and also the operators are not familiar with the older version of the Python adapter where
exactly.
they could read it. Yeah. Okay, I see.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Okay, good to know.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Thanks a lot. Okay. Good. Anything else that we need to be discussing? Okay, then if not, we get 5 minutes back. Thanks a lot for everybody for joining, and let's talk again on Slack. Chip, as soon as you have that fix, I'll be open to put some changes in the OpenONU adapter to try it out and reproduce it here in the lab at ONF. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.